Chief, always great having you with us.
It's good to be with you. Good morning.
Happy springtime, although, boy, 80 degrees yesterday, 50 today.
I tell you, I went to my son's lacrosse game last night, went with a t-shirt with like, maybe I should take a sweatshirt. And we were at the game for 30 minutes and I swear the temperature dropped 10 degrees. So it's always exciting here in Michigan. That's what we love about it.
Right. Hey, at least it's not snow.
I know. I hope you haven't cursed us with that,
I know. You never know, right? With that. Hey, Chief, with that though, when we talk about the season changes, do you and your team members see a change in how you're responding to calls?
Oh, sure. The types of calls that we go on, some of them are seasonal, as people start to put their boats in and they get out on the water, or, more outside activity, sports related injuries, whether it's on a soccer field or at a softball game. So there's just those heat related emergencies, as we all hope that temperature does start to rise a little bit. So there are some different things that come, and one of the big things that comes with this time of year, Ronnie and Tyler, is the spring weather, where we can have some more serious storms and wind. And that's where we start to really rely on our friends at like DTE and helping to keep your power on and your air conditioning going and all those kinds of things.
And I know that storms, I think, are expected a little bit later this week. And it's so dangerous when you do have the tree limbs that come down on the power lines. And while you constantly remind people, we all remind people, stay away from power lines, but it could be easy for people to not realize that maybe when they touch that fence, it's connected to that down line.
Sure. And we'll see residents when there's a down power line, let's say over a shed or some kind of outbuilding on the property that may be sparking or having some, a little bit of fire even on top of that, where they're pulling out their garden hose and they're about to spray it. Often when people see us on those scenes where there's an electrical fire, they kind of will look at us like, well, why aren't you putting that out? And the big reason is because that electricity can even travel through the water. So, if we do make an attack on that, there are bursts of water so that there's not a constant stream going all the way back to the firefighter. And so there's just those little nuances that, if we try to take it in an all hazards response and the safety of the community, but also the safety of our own staff.
So with that, Greg Flynn, the chief of the West Bloomfield Fire Department, joining us on the show here. One of the great events coming up here is the Household Hazardous Waste event, because so many people right now, because of the pandemic, they're cleaning out and clearing out. Mm-hmm. What do you know to bring and not to bring?
Well, there's lots of literature on the township website, which will keep me from stepping in anything that I'm not supposed to be in. But our development services and the planning department and the team over at Town Hall put that on, and they just do a fabulous job. I can tell you that traffic during the hours of the event all around Walnut Lake in front of the campus there, the township campus, you will expect delays as people are bringing in the old paint cans, with a little bit of paint in it, or that Mountain Dew bottle that clearly doesn't have Mountain Dew, but that was that one thing you thought you might need, so you put it into a pop bottle, which we absolutely would discourage you from doing. But we know that at times that's the only thing that's handy, and you just don't know what all of that stuff comes in, and the team there will sort that out, get it in the right pile, and we'll dispose of it safely.
And so again, when is the event? Is it this weekend?
It is this weekend. Yeah. I don't have the hours in front of me, but a few clicks, I probably could get that up if you guys...
Actually, I'll pull it up. I'm sitting here going, oh, how is it May already this weekend? I'm like, it is going by so quickly, but yeah, so it's going to be,
it should be this
spreading.
Saturday.
Yes, it starts at 9 a.m. until 2 at the Civic Center complex there on Walnut Lake Road. So if you're going to be in the area, just know that usually there are some traffic delays. Greg Flynn with us here. He's the chief for the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Chief, I know that the last few times that we've been checking in with you, you've been at the vaccination site there on Orchard Lake Road. Are those still going on? Because we're starting to see a bit of a slowdown and some of the supply and demand for the vaccination right now.
So yes to both of those. There's actually a clinic today. I had every intention of joining you from there, but some things got me tied up here in the office, and so I'm coming you here from the chief's office today. But yeah, there's a clinic today. My understanding from the county team when I met with them this morning, these are all first shots. For the most part, there might be a couple add-in second shots, folks that maybe missed an appointment and they're going to sneak in there to get their second vaccine today. But this is just another, the governor came out with a press release today about Michigan's Back to Normal plan. And maybe you guys have touched on that earlier in the program. And, this is at least something measurable and specific for us to try to achieve. And already being at 48% of the population receiving their first shot, jumping to 55%, hearing that we're doing some more first shots today. I'm really hopeful that we can get into that first 2-week period for step one.
So reflecting back over the past year, I remember this time last year, we were still pretty much in a shutdown, a lockdown mode. What are your thoughts over looking back over the past year?
I'm really proud of what our community has done. And it might sound a bit cliche, and I sure as heck hope it doesn't to our residents, because when you look at how far we've come and the businesses that I know we have had some casualties there, but we've tried to minimize that. And when I say we, I mean the collective we of the community. When I look at seeing the lineup this morning already early for the vaccine clinic and residents from the nearby area, but many of them West Bloomfield residents, playing their part in the governor's Back to Normal program here, right? Maybe not even knowingly so. We're doing good things. Our school district was on it and, working with closures and openings and keeping staff safe. I just very proud of what the community has done, and a sigh, like I guess I do feel some relief when I'm getting these COVID reports, which I get every day from the previous set of call data that the 911 center brought in, and seeing 000 of people calling in with COVID symptoms. It's encouraging.
It really is. And, we should remember throughout the pandemic, while so many of us have been able to work remotely, you and your team have been on the front lines the entire time, every single day. From a leadership standpoint, any silver linings?
Well, I think anytime you successfully navigate whatever this hurdle or this challenge is in front of you, that's definitely something that you walk away from it going, until the team has tried with that trial or that challenge, you don't, I guess, know 100% what it's going to look like on the other side. The team of men and women here at the WBFD, the PD, dispatch, our whole team that supports all the operations through water utilities and town hall, and they've really come together to put that football into the end zone. And I know the game's not over, but we have had some successes. And I watch what's happening in some other countries. We see India in the headlines. It's not over. The game's still in play, but I think we're seeing, again, with the governor's plan, with what we're seeing with the numbers, we're progressing very well. So there's that. And I think that this is just where we really test our resiliency. How are we going to bounce back from this? There's definitely that, and you've touched on this, both of you have in the interviews over the months and the year, that tension that's in the air because of COVID, that lack of interaction, the lack of going to work and how you used to do it and all that. And I think that's just that layer that we're all anxious for that to go away, because just our day-to-day stress is enough, let alone COVID.
Yeah. And, Chief, I wonder too, like, you remember after 9/11, there was such a big support of coming together, and how many people joined the military following 9/11 because they wanted to support America. Coming out of this pandemic, do you anticipate there's going to be a renewed interest in the healthcare industry, the first responder industry, or are people going to shy away from it?
So you're testing my president of the West Bloomfield Optimist Club right now, I think, Ronnie. I am an optimist, and I do believe in what our group does here in the community. but I think even with optimism, you have to balance it with reality. I know that we have 2 open positions posted now for the fire department. I know that I think if last time I checked in, I think we had 1 applicant that had completely submitted all of their work. Again, 23 years ago when I got on the job, there would have been 200 applicants for 2 or 3 spots. So I don't know that that trajectory is going to change anytime soon. And I think that a pandemic is a different call to action than the 9/11. And again, I'm not trying to, we're doing it just for the sake of discussion here. This isn't any real in-depth review, but I do think there's some nuances that are different about it. And this whole working from home thing has enticed a whole group of people too. And I think they really like it. They dig being at home and getting their work done. And jobs that require 24 hours away from your family and that they aren't able to, get every day off that they want or those types of things. That's really a problem. So,
well, and
I'm hopeful, but I don't know, Ronnie. That one, I don't know.
And no, but we know that for firefighters and EMTs and people in the hospitals, they really are the frontline heroes throughout this, and it can be challenging, but also rewarding in so many other ways.
Yeah, I guess the reason why I say that it's so challenging is because the images that we're seeing of the first responders are typically those of they're not supported. That the management at the hospital is not supporting them, or they're overworked, and those are realities. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to debunk all of that, but there are so many successes. There are so many stories that you hear from patients that recovered who talk about the nurse that was by their side through the whole time that they were sick, or the paramedic that came into the house and was able to help out with some things with grandma because nobody else could go in there because they weren't vaccinated yet. I mean, these stories are out there too. They just don't seem to be helping to push the message of what it means to be in public service. And I probably am not doing a great job of selling it right now by not saying all the positives about it, but that's really what it is. And while there may be fewer people applying, we're hoping that really is the cream, that those are the people that really are digging deep and saying, even through all of this, this is what I want to do. And those are exactly the people we're looking for.
With that, Chief Flynn, just another minute or so with you. Think back to your first rescue. Those memories have to stick with you even after a long career.
Oh, I think back to the first days here. I think back to my first day working at the Goodrich Volunteer Ambulance Base up in Goodrich, Michigan, just north of Ortonville there. It's all I've ever done. And I wouldn't change a thing about it. I had a very good career and hope to have at least a few more good ones here. But those that are interested, I would encourage anybody in the listening area, reach out to your local fire department, EMS provider, police department, talk to the officers, talk to the firefighters, learn about the job, come in and do a tour of the station and get to know them and look at it as a real career option. I'm hoping we can partner with you guys come this fall. We're going to run a Fire Ops 101 for youth to try to recruit younger people to come into the job. And we're going to do that with our friends out at OCC at their emergency training center out there, the Crest Center.
That's really such a great way to get them interested. I was lucky enough to spend the first 24 hours with a new recruit for the Detroit Fire Department. His first 24 hours on the job, and he had a camera following him the entire time. No pressure there, right? But just that eagerness. And it started because he grew up down the street from a fire house there in Detroit, and, seeing the fire truck and talking to the firefighters, and that plants the seed. Mm-hmm. And he's still on the job today. And so it really is important to try to get them engaged at a young age to see what a difference that they make in our community. Because, if people don't sign up for these jobs, what's that going to mean for all of us long term?
For sure. Yeah, there's going to be a negative impact. And I see that, and I feel for again, not trying to dip my toe into this pool, but the law enforcement side is really feeling that right now. And we need good people We need to realize that some of these instances that come up don't define everybody in that workforce. And that's an important conversation. That needs to be part of the conversation. And the other components are very important as well. But we need good people filling these roles because all those public servants do have a role in the community.
Very much so. Well, Chief Flynn, we always appreciate your time, but also the work of you and your team members as well.
Well, thanks for including us. We appreciate it.